Hello everybody, this is Terry Jeanette with Be Creative. My channel is all about being creative. And one of the things that I talk about is traveling, cruising mostly. And you can be creative when you cruise. Last night, my mom and I were actually talking about cruising. And I mentioned to her how some of my friends are always talking about how expensive cruising is. I have several of my friends telling me that they can't afford to cruise, but yet they fly their family, which is at least 4 people. Sometimes they have more than 2 kids, across the country, or they're going to an all-inclusive, or they're even leaving the country. I'll be honest with you right now, we can't afford to do that. We raised 4 kids and never did we fly anywhere with them. 6 tickets were just way too expensive, but we always managed to find an affordable cruise. Now, granted, things are a little bit different now. Everything has gone up, and so it is a little bit more to cruise now than it did when we had all 4 of our kids. And now that it's just the 2 of us, we can really afford to cruise. But there is a secret on finding that perfect cruise for you and not spending so much money and also not gaining a ton of weight. But the weight thing is a whole different video. All right, so how do we shop for our affordable cruise? Our very first cruise was back in 2003 when we were celebrating our 20th wedding anniversary. And we decided to cruise with Carnival. Originally, we were planning an all-inclusive, but then we found out how much that cost versus the cruise. The cruise won. We had so much fun on this cruise that the very next year we decided to do it again, and this time we cruised with Royal Caribbean. And you know what? Some of our family members saw how much fun we were having. They decided to try out cruising too. First it was Carnival for them, and then they tried Royal Caribbean. As the years went on, it seemed like we were traveling with Carnival more than any other cruise line. And the reason that was, well, Royal Caribbean was way, way more than Carnival. So fast forward quite a few years, my sister, who is a huge, huge Disney fan, talked us into going on Disney. It was only a 3-day cruise. Man, was that expensive, but we went. Now let me just say this about Disney. I kind of balked at going, but now that we went, even though that was 2015, I'm glad I went because it gave me something to compare other cruise lines with. Now, granted, Disney is Disney. They are going to be more expensive, and you do expect them to be better. Entertainment was better. Yep. Let's see, what else was better? Maybe their bathrooms, because they actually had 2 bathrooms. But other than that, I don't think they were any better. Now, I do have quite a few friends that are huge Disney people. In fact, there's one in particular I'm thinking of, and they go on Disney cruises all the time, and I'm sorry, but I've tried to talk her into trying other cruise lines, and she has yet to do that because she's Disney. But you know what? That's fine. Everybody has their own opinions, and if she likes Disney and she wants to pay that price, go for it. I'm cheap, though, and I know I can find a better deal. Now, all that being said, that doesn't mean I don't check out Disney, because I do. Every time we go to book, I check out several cruise lines. I check out Disney, I check out Royal Caribbean, and I check out Carnival. And as of the last couple of years, I've added MSC to my list, and we'll get to them in a little bit. We always leave out of Port Canaveral, well, except for one time. We left out of Miami, and that's actually been added to our list. You see, Port Canaveral is actually my home port. I mean, literally, I grew up in that area. So it is just easier for for us to leave out of Port Canaveral because I still have family there. But Miami's not too bad because it's actually really not that far. It's only about 3.5 hours, depending on the traffic though. We've actually found that if we can find a Sunday cruise, that's probably the best day, because Sunday mornings, nobody's on the road. Okay, so enough of me blabbing and give you a little bit of history. Let's get down to the numbers. So yesterday I did some looking. Now we are May of 2024, and I was looking for a cruise for May of 2025. And when I say May, I'm meaning before Memorial Day. So the best time to cruise financially is early May. Sometimes the end of April, last maybe week of April into May until you get to Memorial Day. Once you get to Memorial Day, that's when everything starts going way, way up in price. We've also found that like the end of September, October, that's another good time to cruise financially. And usually weather for those two times are good. Now, when you get into the fall, you get into hurricane season, so that's kind of a hit and miss there. But that's why I like May, because it's before hurricane season, it's before the kids get out of school and the prices go up, and it's before the hot, humid, gooky weather sets in. Now, last year, 2023, we decided to try MSC cruises. We did a back-to-back, 2 weeks, and we left out of Miami. It was the first time we ever left out of Miami. And we had such a great time that we decided to do that again. This time, though, was just a couple of weeks ago. We left Easter, which was March the 31st, and we sailed for 2 weeks after that. We got back April the 14th. 2-week back-to-back, leaving out of Port Canaveral. And since we had such a great time both years, we have decided we're throwing MSC into the mix for investigating our next cruise. All right, so we looked at MSC, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Disney, because those are the 4 cruise lines that I've actually sailed on. And I've got all the figures here. They're pretty much going to the same place, Western Caribbean. And let me just read off what I found and the prices. So when I give you the numbers, I'm going to start with the least expensive cruise and work my way up. And by the way, a lot of people say, well, you get what you pay for. You know, I've been on all 4 of these cruise lines, and they're pretty much the same. Service is fantastic. The food is yummy for the most part. My sister got food poisoning on Disney, but we're not going to talk about that. Other than that, though, food's pretty much the same. The service the same. You're going to the same ports. The rooms are pretty much the same. So I don't know why everybody complains about one cruise line over another. Now we're talking 7-day cruise. All of these are 7-day. We're not doing 2 or 3 or 4-day cruises. These are 7-day cruises. All of them are leaving out of Port Canaveral, and they're all in May. Now I tried to get the same exact dates, but that's kind of impossible to do. But it's all before the Memorial Day rush starts. So we're talking the beginning to mid-May, which the prices really haven't gone up yet. So we're comparing apples to apples, not apples to oranges here. So we're going to start with MSC because they were the least expensive. Like I said, leaving out of Port Canaveral. The dates are May 11th through the 18th. So we're talking mid-May. And they have 2 sea days on this particular cruise. They have 2 days on their island, and we did that this past cruise. It was so nice and relaxing. Now granted, they don't have a whole bunch of like water slides and hoopla and all that stuff going on. Personally, I don't like that. I like peace and quiet, and we enjoyed snorkeling and just hanging out. Food was delicious. It was great. And they're actually updating it right now. But anyway, so 2 days on the island, 2 days at sea. They went to Costa Maya, which I kind of consider that a throwaway port, and then Cozumel. By the way, I'm quoting all these as a balcony. So we're talking a balcony, not inside cabin, not a little porthole or a window, but an actual balcony where you can go outside and enjoy the fresh air and the sea and see all the beautiful sunsets and everything from your room. So the cost of this, $879. Now this is each, so times that too. But $879, that's way under $1,000. Thumbs up on that one. Okay, next up is Carnival. So again, 7-day cruise, leaving out of Port Canaveral. I believe this was the Mardi Gras. May 4th through the 11th. They have 3 sea days. They don't have a private island that they're going to. They're going to Roatan, Belize, and Cozumel. And I have to say, I don't consider any of those throwaway ports. All good places to go, but we do have 3 sea days, which, you know what? I don't mind sea days. And there's a lot to do on the ship. They have a lot of really good restaurants that you don't have to pay extra for, which that's a tip right there on how to save money. Anyway, the price for this balcony is $1,009 per person. So we went up about $130 per person from MSC to Carnival. All right, Royal Caribbean is next. And I can't remember which ship it is. But Royal Caribbean ships are good, the ones leaving out of Port Canaveral. So not a problem there. They're pretty much apples to apples on all these ships. So we're talking May 18th through the 25th. So it's the week right before Memorial Day. We have 2 sea days. And they're going to their private island. So that's Coco Cay. We have Costa Maya. Again, that's a throwaway port. Roatan and Cozumel. Total price for the balcony, $1,319 per person. So we jumped another $310 per person. That's a big jump. And as far as, is it $310 better than Carnival? I don't think it is. And that's $440, if I did my math right, more than MSC. And, you know, I'll just say this. I know Royal Caribbean does have some pretty good entertainment and all, but I don't think it's that much more per person. You're talking over $800 more to go on this basically same cruise. All right, let's move on. All right, now for Disney. So for Disney, we are on, I don't remember what ship, but their ships are pretty much all the same. May 3rd through the 10th. They have 2 sea days. And they go to Grand Cayman. Sorry. 2 sea days. Cozumel, Grand Cayman, Jamaica, and then Castaway Cay. Which their island's pretty nice. But, you know, they say that they brag about being able to dock right there. Well, you know what? Ocean Cay, which is MSC's island, they dock right there too. And believe me, you don't have to walk 50 million miles to the island. It's a long way. Anyway, it is a beautiful island. But you're ready for the price? Now sit down. The price per person, $3,169. That is $1,850 more than Royal Caribbean, which was, what did I say? $310 more than Carnival, which was $130 more than MSC. So you're talking $2,290 difference from MSC to Disney per person. All right, so we've already determined that one way to save money is to do some shopping around. Once you get to all your little destinations on your cruise, of course, you're going to want to do some excursions. This is where things can get really pricey. So we've been to a lot of these islands multiple times, and we're to a point where we don't even really do excursions anymore, unless, of course, it's a new place. Then we might do an excursion. Now you may be tempted to shop around for excursions and maybe not book any from the cruise line that you're sailing on. This is a big mistake, because if for some reason the excursion you're on doesn't get you back in time to get onto the ship before it leaves, you're in big trouble. That ship will leave you, and then it's your responsibility to figure out how to find a way back on it at the next port. Try to book an excursion from the cruise line. Places where you can really save money is the drink package and food package. All of the cruise lines have free food. You don't have to pay extra to go to another restaurant. I'll be honest with you, I've actually tasted some of the food at some of these specialty restaurants, and I was really not that impressed. So save your money. One big area that you can save a lot of money are the drink packages. And I actually have a video about that I will leave a link to at the end of this video so you can go check that out. So one thing I highly recommend is that you keep an eye on your statement. You can pull it up on your phone. You know, sometimes you may forget about things that you've purchased. It's like, oh, that's right. I forgot all about that magnet I bought. So I'm looking on my phone for our statement from several weeks ago when we got off our cruise, and our total final bill for the cruise. This is things we bought on the ship. $527.26. We didn't do any excursions. We didn't buy a drink package. We didn't buy a food, like extra food package of specialty restaurants. We didn't do that. So we saved a lot of money there. We kept the tips on there. That was mostly the tips. I bought a magnet. Big spender, huh? And we were really tempted to buy something that was big bucks, but we didn't do that. You have to really watch it because they will nickel and dime you a lot. So when my husband and I do cruise, the main goal is just to spend time with each other. We like to relax and just hang out. Now, I remember when we cruised with the kids, it was a whole different ball game, but we still pinched our pennies. And they just loved being on the ship, and especially all the slides and stuff. They just loved that. And that was not an extra cost. So I hope this helps you a little bit to understand the reality of how much a cruise actually does cost, and also ways that maybe you can save a little money on a cruise. It's actually those extras that are going to get you. And don't be afraid to try some of the cruise lines that are less expensive. I know by experience they're fine. You know, we're not drinkers or gamblers or partiers or anything like that. And I'm platinum on Carnival. I really like Carnival a lot. And now have switched over to MSC, and they've actually matched my status that I have on Carnival. And here's one major tip I want to leave with you. Go in with a positive attitude. Don't go in thinking, oh, this is just going to be a terrible trip. I don't know why I booked it, blah, blah, blah. Don't go in with that. Go in with an open mind. I promise you, you will have fun. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be total perfect. There is no such thing as perfect anything. There's going to be some bobbles here and there, no matter which cruise line you pick, no matter where you go. But if you go in with a positive attitude and you're happy, I guarantee you're going to have a great time. Thanks for joining me. Y'all have a great day. This is Terry Jeanette with Be Creative, signing out for now. Bye-bye.